Hello and welcome to DM Talks. Today we're gonna see how to beat the French with the Tarrasch variation. A sound choice for white for people who don't like messy, weird positions that you get in the French, but just good development, a slight edge, a little bit more space, and then maybe attacking chances and maybe a slight pull or something. So let's see a very recent game which was played on the internet, on the chess Pro Chess League. We got Jorden van Foreest against Mahel. I don't know who this boy is. I think he's an IM, probably a good player, 2450. But of course we know Jorden van Foreest is a strong player. So let's move fast forward. E4. Oops. And this is the French. We could just see here. I never really liked the French, but I did play it for a little while with black. The thing is, you have the problem down here, this bishop, and you have slightly less space. But this bishop can often be a bad bishop. It will have problems getting out. At this point, white has a lot of options. The hardcore choice is to just play e5. That is the advanced variation. It gives black easy development, but white stakes his claim in the center immediately and have a space advantage. At the moment, black is doing pretty badly against the advanced variation, and I would be a little bit worried about it if I was black. But of course, if you play the French, then you have to accept that this is the kind of position you get, where white stakes his claim in the center, has slightly more space and some attacking chances, but you have a chance to undermine the center. Of course, you will attack it with moves like c5 and f6 at some point, and try to get rid of that center and get your pieces out. This is another choice is to play knight c3, and here black has two options. You can play knight f6 or you can play bishop b4. Both lines lead to weird position. You say that the knight is very active on c3, but on the other hand, it also blocks the pawn on c2, and we know this is a little bit of a problem. And white's position has some issues, but of course it's the most aggressive way to meet the French, I think, and it must be a good move, knight c3. But if you don't like the weird position, for instance, after something like this here, the Vienna or something like this, you get this kind of weird pawn position where black is missing the nice dark squared bishop, but white's structure is weird, and this is a kind of a position that's for specialists. So I understand if people don't want to play this kind of position. I don't like it much with white, and I would definitely hate it with black. So it's kind of the kind of thing you have to be a specialist. You have to really enjoy this position and have spent a lot of time on it. But it's not a very practical choice for white. If you're a professional player and you play all the time, or you really want to punish the French, then it's a good choice. But the sort of middle road is knight d2, avoiding all kind of nonsense with pins here and still protecting the pawn. It's of course less active on d2 and it blocks in this bishop, but it's on the route to somewhere else. But this is a sound choice. But of course, you cannot ask for a huge advantage when you play a move like knight d2. You're more into the small advantage stuff. Black has, he's got like 4 main choices here. You can always take on e4. That you can also do against knight c3. That's the Rubinstein variation. It's you give up the center immediately, but you know what to do afterwards. It is probably slightly better for white. If black is a specialist, I think the German Mahel has been playing this a lot, then you might get away with this, but I don't really trust this. I played it a few times with black. It's playable. You have to endure some uneasy moments, but it's okay. You can also go knight f6. That's the hardcore French move, where you say here, and then you're ready to again attack with something like this. These kind of positions are very strange. I think they're kind of anti-positional. We have had a lot of games on this channel with this variation because I have had tremendous success with white against this line. You can also play some move like a6, which we will actually see as in the game because we transpose to a6 lines. You can also play a move like bishop e7, which look weird, but it's kind of trying to transpose into knight f6 lines where white has put his knight on f3. The thing is, he does not always put the knight on f3. Bishop e7 was championed by Mirosevic, and he had, and I think it's an interesting opening. It looks weird, but it's much better than it looks for sure. You can also play knight c6, which is very un-French-like, but you're trying to play more actively. But after something like this, you still get this this situation here. But here black will not play with the c-pawn. He will attack with f6, and well, it does not have the best of a reputation, this line. I'm not sure it's completely correct, but it's not. It's all, again, something specialists would do. And then you can of course play, which is probably the main line, c5. So let's see. And take is the most common choice. You can also play the knight to f3. And here black has the option to take with the pawn. That was what they did a lot in the old days. There were a lot of Karpov or Korchnoi games. But this is actually, I think, the main line at the moment. Black gets the kind of Rubinstein structure and is behind in development, has put his queen out early, but white is not having sort of at superiority in the center. This kind of position, I think the main line goes on like this. And in the old days, they used to put the knight on d6, but I think that they go something like this. This was the old main line, and white takes. Oops, knight takes, and here you can go bishop d7 or a6. This kind of thing. This was the old main line. We see that black has he has sort of an easy development, a good sound structure, but white is ahead in development and can sometimes do real damage to black and win in fast style. I think this line is definitely correct, and it's a good line for black. But of course white will put black under some pressure, so it's not everybody's taste. But you can also take back with the pawn, just getting that isolated pawn here early. If you're very interested in isolated queen pawn position, we have a whole masterclass or course on this here on GM Talks. It's completely free, and it's just takes a lot of time to watch it all. I think it's rather popular actually. Okay, so knight f3, all normal move, a6. So here black actually has a different option. He can go knight f6, he can go knight c6, and he can go a6, which are the main moves. I think the main line would probably be something like this. This has been played a lot, and here black plays the knight here. He has to do that because knight f6 is too aggressive. You get into trouble on the e file. But you would prefer to have the knight here. This is all in the course on the isolated queen pawn position. So one more recommended for this position, and knight b3 and stuff like that. It's been playing in a million games. Black's position is solid, but he does have an isolated d pawn. But he will get that as well in the game. So a6, and okay, white cannot go to b5, and this is all very normal. But here we see that black is actually able to put the knight on f6, and you would much prefer to have the knight on f6. So what can you say about a position like this? Well, the sort of lazy version of this is that white is slightly better because black has a weak pawn here. In practical play, white is scoring a little bit better because unless black gets an attack or a nice initiative, white can massage this pawn on d5 for a long time and will sometimes win it, and even the ending sometimes you can grind out a win there. And this is all standard, just making a pin here, all moves, and we see that the black's way to unpin the knight is rather nice. Simply playing here and creating this battery down on this diagonal. So if the knight here were to someone disappear, it would be mate in one. So white is getting ready to answer queen d6 with bishop d3 and exchange the black squared bishop. Here's a rule of thumb. Whenever in this position with isolated pawns, exchanging pieces in general is to the advantage of the guy who's not attacking. So here it is clear that it's black who will usually attack. It's usually the player with the d pawn that attacks. So exchanging pieces is good. Exchanging a lot of pawns is not good, because then you will closer to a draw. So exchanging pieces in general, as a general rule, benefits the guy playing against the isolated queen pawn. Rook e8 and bishop d4, and that's the advantage of the isolated queen pawn, is that you can get your pieces out. It's usually very easy to develop because there are no pawns in the way. So in the French, black often sit back with this bishop on c8, and it's just unemployed, and here it just goes out. White is connecting the rooks. All these moves are natural and getting rid of the pin. So if black was to take here, now he can take back with the knight here. And he took this one, and basically black is ready for this move here, and he's made sure he got rid of the bishop before. And but by the way, he was not going after the h pawn here. But white also have an idea. One of them is to attack the pawn here, maybe with this move, and the other one is to go here and maybe here, because there are some holes in the king's side. So I like this move, rook a d8. Here I would probably play something like this, or you can take actually. There's actually the king here is, so why not take? If black takes with the pawn, it's of course totally losing of the queen. So he has to take back here, and here you don't want to take this one, because then he will get to e2 and f2 is hanging. But why not take this one? I think this is possible. Right? It looks possible. Yeah, I think you're probably winning a pawn. I don't know, 95. Well, I'm not analyzing this with a computer, but it looks like white wins a pawn, but black might get some compensation for it. No, 95 you just take. I think I wins a pawn. There are opposite colored bishops, so it could be a draw. King f1 is what he plays. So getting out of this pin, but it looks strange to have the king on f1. It does also protect e1, which sometimes is important, but it goes away from the defense of the h-pawn. So this knight is not gonna move. I'm not sure I really like it. And here and here. And this position is interesting. So black is basically saying that he's not really afraid of... And knight takes is now not very good, because the queen takes h2, which is extremely annoying. So that was the problem with king d1, because in general, when black goes d5, then this would be good, because after something like this, you take with check and you win the knight here. But here, black just takes on h2. So he has to move, and after something like this, it seems like black is fine, because this might be threatening, right? And maybe this move could also be threatening. Okay, bishop b3. So getting away, you can play knight e4 now, for sure. Because if he takes, then there's a check, something like this, and then f2, because something like this is a serious problem. And you will follow up with this move. And that must be good for black. And f2 is falling, right? And if you take with the f pawn, it's mate in one. But what about this move, actually? This is also not bad. Threatening to take it. And after something like this, because there is this check. And for instance, this move, I think black has great compensation here. You cannot play rook e1 because of the take and so on. This looks scary. This looks a little bit scary. Might even play g4. No, he has to cover e5. Yeah, because f7 yeah, he has to cover e5. But there's definitely compensation here. So he played knight e4, queen d3. So this is the kind of position you often get. Pressure here. Black has to find counterplay. I think he has to do something like this move here. This looks like a good move. Maybe here and check. And I don't know about this position, but maybe just this move. Black definitely has compensation here for sure. This must be fine for black. d4 is in there. It might even be winning, actually. Yeah, also, but after this, queen is hanging here. But maybe you can play something like this, something like this, and maybe that's unclear. You take, and black definitely have counterplay. So knight c5 looks like a good move. It's all what you want to get rid of, and you actually want to get rid of this one, and you want to go here with the queen. And this is a mistake. I can say that for sure, because you cannot defend this afterwards, right? And all the white squares in trouble. So it looks natural to get this this bishop to become stronger, but actually the white bishop becomes much stronger than this bishop here. So. And now he just lost a pawn. Sometimes something like this can be drawish, but here we have problems here, and this bishop here is strong. This rook is strong, and so white will probably win another pawn. He will win another pawn, I think. Yeah, this is very, very unpleasant for black. I think it's just lost. He's gonna win another pawn, and this is a rapid game, by the way. And this, of course, is a huge blunder. But I don't see any defense, and here with 2 pawns more and bishops of opposite color in these kind of positions, they are not drawish. They are actually improving the chances to win because the bishop is colorblind, so it cannot defend on the white squares. Anyway, this was a little bit about the Tarrasch French. I can recommend it. I have done well with it in my career, and it's a good flexible choice for white. You can play it very solidly, or you can play it like a wild crazy attacker. The thing is, you start out with a healthy good position, so it cannot be all bad for sure. This was DM Talks. Thank you for watching.